Well, hi, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Christine Hoper, and I am so happy to be here with you today. I got an invitation to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes with you sharing poetry with you. So, as an introduction, I live and work downtown, and as many of you do also working downtown, you are close to the trains. In fact, I maybe am hearing a train possibly right now. So that really becomes part of the landscape for me. And this poem is called Trains on Loon Lake. And it's really kind of, I found myself, I'm really fortunate to be able to spend some time at the lakes in the summer as well. And the same trains that come through our city go through some of the lake towns as well. And it's amazing just sitting and thinking about the difference that you feel when you're around trains all the time and you kind of even forget or not notice or they're stopping you from doing what you want to do. The change of just the landscape can make a difference. So this is Trains on Loon Lake. Train whistles after midnight. The moon plays hide and seek from lake to lake like steel gray rocks in your nephew's pocket. Slivers of darkness escape to skip across the water. Ripples, only if you see them. Echoes, only if you hear. So the next I'm going to share with you is actually written by a friend of mine, a poet named Julie Walnum. And we get together with a couple other poets every couple of months, and we have these notebooks that by this time are really tattered and torn, but they're just all the same type of notebook. They have the same number of pages. So we write in them, and then we get together and exchange, right? So it passes around. So you get to read and write and think about things that other people have in this notebook. So this is called This Is Me, and it's by Julie Walnum. This is me slipping away. This is me slipping away to tell you a secret. This is me slipping away to tell you a secret that I have an ocean inside myself. This is me slipping away to tell you a secret that I have an ocean inside myself with slippery silver fishes. This is me slipping away to tell you a secret that I have an ocean inside myself filled with slippery silver fishes that glisten like stars in moonlight. This is me slipping away to tell you that I have an ocean inside myself filled with slippery silver fishes that glisten like stars in sunlight. This is me slipping away to tell you a secret that I have an ocean inside myself with slippery silver fishes that glisten like stars in sunlight swimming fast through my salty sea of tears. This is me slipping away to tell you I have a secret that I have an ocean inside myself, filled with slippery silver fishes that glisten like stars in the sunlight, swimming through my salty sea of tears. This is me, slipping away to tell you that I have a secret. I have an ocean inside myself, filled with slippery silver fishes that glisten like stars in sunlight, swimming fast through my salty sea of tears, and they're mine because they'll all be gone soon. This is me, slipping away. The earth. Okay, so this next one is was inspired because I working to try to keep up with poetry and writing and make that part of my life, part of my busy life, where there's so many notifications and there's so much noise and there's so much talking. I saw an advertisement that I could sign up to get poetry by mail, by the US mail. That sounds so novel right now. But so I signed up, and for $40 a year, I can get a poem in the mail, in my mailbox, every month. So I got the first one, and I was super excited. I didn't even read it in the post office. I went home, and actually I stopped at Atomic and got a coffee because this was, I'm going to take the time, I'm going to unplug, I'm going to decompress, I'm just going to read this poem. So then I get home and I'm reading the poem, and the poem it just wasn't what I expected, and it just, I had this plan of everything that I was going to do. So I'll just stop talking. I'll just read you this. And this is what I meant to say when I called, but I got your voicemail. I'm sorry about your brother and the car. How you had to wipe his blood from the seams of the seat. But it was a poem I signed up for. That'd be fun, right? Getting a poem in the mail? Windows has detected an IP address conflict. No one ever says, get up, get up, get up, unless you're dead. This is week 50, and you may find yourself at an AC/DC concert behind the wheel of a big, big rig. Because we're all in the same boat, and the people with broad shoulders are rowing. I'm ready to pair with your device. Can you get her home? LSF apostrophe capital W EUR apostrophe 4 B 7 V N8 capital M dash capital Q 3 capital M A Q E R is following you on Twitter. These alleys are icy. Hashtag don't talk about the weather. When things are bad, get in. Roll around. Fall up to your hair in it. You can roll away, and you can roll away, and you can roll away tomorrow. There are new items in your inbox. I mean, if you got that kind of hair. I forget. You're a good friend. I forgot. You don't need a friend. How the heck could we ever be the same when one of us eats meat with juices? Hashtag don't talk about politics. Okay, we both breathe. You will fall off the stool. I will drive us home. The babies will be alone in the memory / fantasy / what do you call it when something exists and then it's not? There is water underground. It doesn't matter the ask. You're still right here in the middle of a poem by mail. So this next one kind of takes me back a little bit. I have 3 brothers, and all of them are adopted. And this poem recalls meeting one of them for the very first time who joined our family from Korea. And it's called New Brother. I remember the day you became the new brother. Your teeth, when you smiled, were as perfect as the checkered deck of cards that crossed the ocean in your pocket. Perfect as the row of shirts and shorts in your dresser drawers before you filled the space between them with graham crackers. Perfect as the triangle points on the ends of the wax paper sleeves holding exactly 9 crackers at straight back attention, which, if not opened carefully, can slip and cut under your nail. And I wanted to warn you, but you had different words for cut and nail. The first cracker sounded like sandpaper when you pulled it out. How did you manage to hide them with mother always watching? Later, you would spread them with salty, hand-churned butter from the neighbor's farm, sitting beside the rest of us on the stained pine bench at the kitchen table, singing, yes, Jesus loves me, with different words for Jesus and love. The last one that I have for you today, it's called Before Me. Okay, before me. Before the freeze and the warming and the sailing and the exploring and the marching and the camps and the conquering and the burning and the fighting and the calming and the rounding up and the taking and the washing and the wasting and the misplacing, assassination, indoctrination, annihilation, and the bombings and the theories and the stripping and the pumping and the spilling and the polluting and the dust and the floods and the fires and the earthquakes and the waves and the leaks and the reforms and repeals and ratings and commentary and the slogans and the text messages and the panels and the shouting and the aligning and the misguiding and the keeping apart and the not telling and the left out and the far right and the sickness in our middles and the turning away and the pointing and the landmines and the others and the not me and the falling out of the sky and the shooting. We used to take care of each other.
That was wonderful, Christine. Thank you very much.
What a treat.
We are going to go into the agenda, and then we'll talk a little bit about this. But if we could have an motion to approve the agenda, but I'd like to switch 2 and 3 around, or excuse me, 4 and 2 around, so that we get Officer Bloom up as soon as we can, and then he can leave if he wants to. You're free to stay, but so if somebody would move to approve the agenda with that change.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Officer Bloom, you're going to tell us a little bit about what you're involved in, I believe, and it's got an art slant to it, I think.
Thanks for taking the time to let me come and talk with you today. So I'm Officer Bloom. I'm a community trust officer with the Fargo Police Department, and I've been kind of collaborating and connecting with the planning department of the city of Fargo over here to the left. And really what I was looking at possibly doing and wanting the help of from the community, from the city, and coming around is creating a mural in town. We're looking at possibly creating this mural at one of our community outreach locations where we're going to be stationed as for the police department. And so really it would be a piece that would represent what our engagement team stands for, and that's youth and unity and community. So we want to kind of surround that mural with that focus really. And the mural itself that we're looking at, that we have been talking about collaborating on and designing, I really have a passion to have it speak more to youth than adults. I want adults to like it. I want adults to think it's cool and fresh, right? But I want a 13-year-old minority, male or female, to really feel like law enforcement, especially in this city, especially understands maybe their heart more and what, that we're not all of just one focus, but that we see a variety of colors and a variety of people and a variety of culture. And so I want it to be a diverse painting. I want to have some swagger to it for some of our youth, because that's how I think it's a really wonderful way to relate, especially to our young male culture that I work with so closely. And so we've been talking about meeting with local artists in the community to help us design this. And we're also talking about partnering with the city has a Kresge Foundation grant that we would look to possibly fund it through, and also possibly hiring an artist out of state to kind of be the main designer when it comes to more like the flow of the design, but also then using our local talent to really partner and collaborate for the majority of the project. So there's like a really strong collaboration piece. And I think really that aspect and focus would be that I want to find someone who has an expertise in this style of art, like the spray painting, graffitiing, And if we have that in Fargo, I would love to then look into that deeper. I don't have a deep understanding of how broad the focus is for art in our community, but some of the work I've seen on Broadway is incredible and fabulous. So I know we have some really good artists locally right now from what I've seen. And but I would love for there to be this kind of unity piece together, and then when hopefully that artist can kind of share some flow too, so we can continue art projects like this, focus at our youth and try to inspire them in art, and also just a piece that they feel like they're more connected to their local law enforcement. Because I mean, I'm just going to speak freely on this. I think law enforcement is so paramilitary. We're so like, shine your boots and be respectful. But I think we got to get, not over that, but I think to engage the kids, we're always trying to engage. We just got to we got to almost try to relate more to their culture than ours. And that's where I think we're going to have way better conversations and relationship building. And we're already seeing that, but I just feel like this piece could be something unique in our community. So Nicole and Megan have been wonderful partners so far to work with. And they informed me of this commission. And so I just came here with the idea. I'm not an artist. I don't have a degree in art. And so that's why I'm seeking a lot of help. So I've been working with Creative Plains currently as well, Foundation and Arts Partnership, as kind of like, some consultants. More so, I'm just asking them for wisdom, and they've been guiding me in a lot of steps. And then Megan and Nicole have been very helpful as well. But as I said, I would love to come to this commission too to see if there's partnership or collaboration or any just information you want from me on this. And now I'll stop talking and let you guys ask questions. So
That sounds wonderful. Have you connected at all with Paul Ide? He is an artist in town, and actually, and I don't know, John, or if anyone else,
Plains, and he did the
he actually
spray
did
paint
something.
murals on the dance studio.
Actually,
Okay.
there were probably
Also
about,
behind the Robert Street studio.
yeah, there were about 10 different sites, I believe. And, yeah, it was all spray paint art.
wonderful. Okay, and it's Paul Ide.
Ide, I-D-E.
Okay, wonderful.
And in fact, I think he ran a program very similar to what you're talking about down in the Wabaton area before he came to Fargo.
Okay.
He himself was a graffiti artist, and he saw it as an outlet for kids who were struggling a little bit inside the school system.
Yeah.
So he would be a great person to contact.
That would be wonderful. Okay. Great.
Sorry, anybody else?
Paul, he's one of my colleagues at the Plains.
Oh, yes,
so-
of course.
yeah.
Joe, you would know him.
Yep. So if we can exchange information after this, we can maybe set up a time with him if he's available.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Do you have a location that you're looking at?
Yeah, so I haven't asked my chief yet, so hopefully he's not watching this. I don't think he is, but we're looking at, so right now we have a substation at 25th Street and 13th Avenue South, right next to Cass Public Health. We have where it says police are out there. So on the south end entrance, there's a long wall that goes across. It's 9 feet high and it goes about 48 feet across. I'm not saying we would do the whole 48 feet, but even if we did half and we did up to where the window well is up there, I mean, we could have a very nice large mural there. And if we wanted to explore going across, but I was also thinking, and some people have put input in too, that we could always add to it. It could be every year we do a new design, or we keep adding to the mural to design it.
You have until 2 o'clock on Saturday. That's when we air.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you have a time frame in mind yet?
Yes, I was looking to do it in July. And the reason for that is I want to get kids involved on this, and how that would be possibly would be if we could kind of outline our mural design and focus. Right now, depending on local artists, sketching ability and things of that nature, but I would love a piece that kind of shows our local law enforcement intermingled with youth, and youth of different culture and color. And then around it, whatever designs, if we wanted to put phrases or kind of like you could say our mission statement or purpose statements around that, or whatever pieces we wanted to add, and then have kids from 2 summer camps we're working with this summer. That's why July is a good time for us to come in and work on the project and fill it in and work with our local artists on that. So they wouldn't maybe touch the main piece, but the outside and around, they could work on the fill-in portion, I think it could be a really wonderful media event to kind of show that unity piece as well and introduce the youth to art, because we'd probably be talking close to 20 to 25 kids through the Charism Summer Camp and the Fargo Police Youth Camp that has around, I think, 15 kids in it this summer. So,
Any other questions? This sounds like a wonderful project. Glad you came here. And if there's anything we can do. I'm sorry, Nicole.
I'm not sure if the mic's hot here. Yeah, so for Officer Bloom, he kind of skipped over his programs for this summer. Do you want to talk through your programs this summer a little bit? And so when Officer Bloom came to us, you might remember 2 months ago or so, we came to you to kind of give you an update on the inclusion planning efforts and the Kresge Foundation project. It's kind of the Fargo Project 2, is what we call it in-house. But our partnerships that we're looking at, particularly in the Jefferson neighborhood, as it relates to both the public space there, the school district, Charism, and all the active partners, and Officer Bloom being one of them. When Officer Bloom came to us about his summer program, we knew this would be a good match with the Kresge Foundation. So in terms of financially, there's no real asks to the Arts and Culture Commission. We're going to be sponsoring that through the Kresge Foundation as part of that programming. But we certainly wanted to bring the update as well as any other advice like you just prepared, as well as maybe Officer Bloom making them aware of the programs you run this summer.
Yeah, definitely.
That works.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. But yeah, this summer I'll be partnering with the Charism Summer Camp. It's a summer camp for middle schoolers at Carl Ben, and that runs throughout June and July. And we'll be starting a hip hop club this summer through them. It's going to be a music hip hop club. So we're not just teaching hip hop, but we're also going to teach instrumentals of guitar, piano, and probably drums, I'm presuming, and the history of music, the different jobs as far as management, emceeing, promoting, and then also teaching youth in this camp how to songwrite. And we're hoping by the end of it, they can have written one of their own personal songs, whether it's a hip hop song or an R&B style song, but really trying to introduce them to those arts. And then also then we would love to add in this piece of the mural that the last week or second to last week of summer camp, we would bring them along to work on the art project as well. And then we're going to be using the 5th graders from the Fargo Police Summer Camp as well in the hip hop music camp, and as well as this art project if we're able to pull it off and get it done. So
Definitely do need to talk with Paul Ide.
okay,
Hip hop don't stop his.
love it.
Sure.
Does he have like Instagram or anything like that?
He's on Facebook, I know.
Okay, because I love connecting with people that way too, just to see their work. So I'll definitely try to.
He is actually working more in ceramics right now, but he's got a really good background with what you're trying to do.
I love that. Thank you. And that was a big purpose of this meeting, was to come and pick your brains or see your perspective or ideas too. So that's wonderful.
So how many community trust officers are there?
Total right now, there's 3 of us.
Oh.
Yeah, myself, Officer Matt Niemeyer, and Officer David Carlson. Yeah, and we just do a variety of outreach in the city. A lot of it varies, but we're in the juvenile detention center in Clay County quite a bit, or like Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch down south, and then we're also in our middle schools and elementary schools, working with a lot of the youth on EDP plans or at-risk youth that are kind of need some extra assistance, and we just try to build bonds with them and connections and plug them into after-school programs if at all possible.
And maybe, Chair, if I could mention, maybe Officer Bloom, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is grant funded. Your programs are grant funded, and they're not a budget item in our city operations. And then I think the 3 officers kind of rotate in positions as it works, and you all 3 run, while you run comprehensively together, you also run independently your own kind of programs or activities or ideas. So it's really about seeing the needs in our community and creating programs and or initiatives related to the needs and the creativity you guys bring as part of that. Maybe if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, we all just kind of flow. Officer Matt Niemeyer, he created this summer camp for youth that we have now ran for 3 years, who usually couldn't make it in like Boys and Girls Club or charisms. They were just having too many issues and like they couldn't put enough staff with them. So he created this camp for youth who work very closely with behavior specialists at like Jefferson and at Clapp. And so that's what we've been doing there with that camp. So that was totally like his initiative. I love hip hop, so we've been making music videos for like the last 2 years and trying to incorporate youth who love hip hop and the community to highlight all the good things that are going on. And that's just like a mission we work on and flow with. And we also have a set of school assemblies that we're now branching into West Fargo this year and partnering with on. So we'll be doing 11 of those in the fall to really go and address the needs of youth on a real level between law enforcement and the kids. So yeah, we just do a variety of projects and things like that.
And for those of you that may not have seen, I've seen at least one of your videos. I'm assuming they're up on YouTube yet, or?
Oh yeah, they're great.
Well, should take a look. They're great.
They don't have Nicole Crutchfield yet, so they're gonna. we need to add that piece, I think. So, yeah.
Nicole's a rapper from way back.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Could someone write down, like, if you wouldn't mind, Joe, or I think it's John, your information and then Paul's name real quick, and then because I'm gonna have to go here, but I would love to take it, maybe your phone number, and we could connect. I'll call you tomorrow, and we can maybe set something up.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All about connections.
Thank you.
Exciting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Very exciting.
Okay, so back to the agenda then. Approval of minutes from April 17th, and I think those are in your packet.
Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I think, Deb, were you going to kind of lead the discussion?
Yes.
All right. It's all yours.
Thank you. One of the things that we have noticed since we've moved into this new space is that we have become a quieter group. So that's why we asked Christine to come. We wanted to shake things up a little bit. Our plan is to continue to have an artist start every meeting for us of some way. But before we get too deep into this and start talking about it, I'd like a word from each of you, starting with Arlette, that describes your feelings during Christine's oratory, call it.
It's probably not a real good word, but wow.
Engaged.
Empowered.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've read poetry before, but never that I can remember actually just listened to other people speak it. So it was cool.
I apologize. I was writing my information down.
A word to describe your reaction.
Yes. To be this close to listen to a presenter and to see a presenter, it's touching, and it feels like there's a connection when you're hearing someone read that is very special. So thank you for that.
I was totally inspired. I think we should start every meeting like this, so I'm excited to hear it's going to continue. And at one point, when you were speaking, and I'm pretty sure it was your last poem, I put my hand on the table and I could actually feel your voice come through the table. So it was multisensory. So it was just, I'm inspired to talk about art after that. So thank you.
Yeah, yes, my one word would be stunned. And Christine, you have published at least one book. Oh, so really? Is it available for purchase?
And Megan's handing out a postcard about
okay.
her work.
Okay. I've got it, and she signed it, and I treasure it. Nice. Thank you.
I think, Deb, if I could just add, we have focused so much on visual arts and on objects. Mm-hmm. To have written word, spoken word in the repertoire is so important. And it's just hopefully opens up everybody's minds to what we can be doing and being involved in.
Yes, and part of it too is to create a dialogue between us so that as we are proceeding with our meeting, we're having more of a discussion rather than just going through the agenda and agreeing on points with no further discussion. So to that end, we do want to start each meeting like this. So folks that you know, musicians, poets, writers, anything that we can do in just a few minutes at the beginning of the meeting to kind of get us warmed up and get us going. Please forward the information to me, to Arlette, to Nicole or Megan, any of us, and we'd love to do this every single meeting. I mean, and music, if you have a bunch of third graders that know how to sing a song, it'd be great. Anything. Okay, so, and also, do you have suggestions or comments regarding what we felt was kind of a lack of discussion in this room? I know the room to me feels intimidating. It's giant, it's pretty much empty. We're very spread out and we're in a line more than we are at a table. Is there other suggestions to get us to be talking a little more?
This was a good one.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier for me instead of doing this.
Yeah,
It does really
Through the whole meeting.
yeah, that's all our left. Yeah, and we did discuss getting a table down there, but we have been asked to make this work.
Maybe it would help, depending on the guest we have, to kick off every meeting, to send out maybe a thought-provoking question to think about ahead of the performance that we could kind of engage then with the artists, so we come prepared.
Okay.
That would help me, I think.
Okay. This time we wanted to just shock everybody.
No, I loved it.
That's awesome.
Are you sufficiently shocked?
In a very good sort of way.
Yeah. If anybody knows a rapper, I'd be really into that. That'd be fun.
Oh, I do.
Okay, there we
Awesome.
go. All right.
My brain's just going.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Other suggestions or comments? Okay, well, we just talked more than we have in a long time.
No, I think this brings home that, we're a commission that talks about art and culture, but then to bring that here, it's a reminder of what we're doing and why we're here, and I think it's very appropriate.
Great.
Thank you, and thank you.
You're going to be on TV, 2 o'clock on Saturday on the channel everybody watches. Can't remember what it is, but.
Actually, the idea kind of came from the Native American Commission. I was at a meeting one day, and they had a ritual of sorts that happened before their meeting, and it was wonderful. I mean, it kind of changed the whole environment of the meeting. So we're trying to replicate that to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. The next item, actually, Deb, I think you're going to take that one too.
Yeah.
At least start it.
I'll start. Tracy Georgery isn't here today, but I have her notes. Arlette put together a trip to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Tracy and I went along with her. She set up 3 meetings. She set up a meeting with Colleen Sheehy, so I'm sure you all remember her as the former director of the Plains. She's currently the executive director of Public Art St. Paul. We also met with Jack Becker of Forecast, and he, if you remember or don't remember, he was the person who guided us through the Public Art Master Plan. And then our last meeting was with the city of Minneapolis. I'm sorry, Arlette, what were the ladies' names? It was
Mary Altman and Gulgun Kayam.
Yes,
Very
city
different
employees.
name.
City employees. And we got some very fascinating information from all 3 people. We were asking them about public art and how it is implemented in their cities. It's implemented very differently in St. Paul and Minneapolis. St. Paul has an artist in residence, but the administration, a lot of the work of public art goes to Public Art St. Paul, which is a nonprofit, I believe. And so they do all of that. So some of the stuff that they've been doing is they came up with a pop-up meeting truck. So they have an electric truck and they had it wrapped for the city. And in the back of the truck is a popsicle cart. And they have a custom flavor created for the city. And city departments can reserve this truck and the popsicle truck, and they get the popsicles ordered. And they take it out to someplace where they want to gather information from the residents of this neighborhood. So they park their truck, they haul out their popsicle cart, and every person that takes their survey gets a free popsicle that's in their special city-only flavor, which is strawberry lemonade. So, and it was, I know Jack talked about this, yeah, if we wanted to copy it. The point of it is gathering public input from people who wouldn't come to a meeting, and it's something that Jack talked about when we were doing a public art master plan, and so it was quite fascinating. Also, in 2009, they approved a 1% ordinance. 1% of the budget on any city project that's funded by capital improvement bonds must be put into art for that project. So sometimes it's a small project, and so it's a small amount of art. I know one of the things she talked about is the actual post for the signs was a sculpture. You know, so it's a lot of different things, and it's going everywhere. Another thing they do is they do sidewalk poetry. So when sidewalks are being poured, they have a guy who goes around with his big press, and he follows the crews, and he presses in the poem into the sidewalk. He can't get to all of them on any given day. It's pretty random. You could, if you know your sidewalk is being ripped up, you can request a poem, but you have no guarantee of ever getting one because the guy pretty much goes where he can. See. They have been working recently on projects involving ecosystems. So they're working on bee houses to enhance the bee population, landscape restoration, building a healthier food system. So that's our let's note. Let's see. Oh, one of the statements that she made that I thought was really kind of resonated with me is that art creates attachment to place. And I think that's kind of part of a big part of our mission here is creating art everywhere in Fargo. So people are they describe where they live by the art that's in their neighborhood. They also use art to increase equity in the city. Let's see. And then Tracy, we all like the pop-up meetings. The artist in residence, salary is paid by Public Art St. Paul, but she is located in City Hall, or I don't know if it's a she. They are located in City Hall. And the artist is used to engage the public and to communicate with the neighborhoods about city projects and how to use city processes to enhance the attachment to place within the budget. Okay. All right. Okay, so then we talked to Jack Becker. Jack is in St. Paul, and the area that they have their office, they have created a creative enterprise zone. And it's a cluster of entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs that are living in the same area, and they have created a organization that they all belong to. And one of the things that they're trying to do to fund their organization is they have a real estate committee, and they are looking to purchase a building that they will rent out space to artists, and then the rent from that building will fund their organization. They are planning a public festival. They're planning a mural festival. They're trying to get 10 walls that will be painted during the festival. So they're working with landowners, building owners, to get those walls available for murals. They're also active in expanding education regarding the artistic process to other disciplines like engineers, planners, health officials. Let's see. what they're working for is community-driven development and creative economy. And then, let me get this other notes. Okay. Lastly, we kind of split up when we met with the city of Minneapolis. The city of Minneapolis has several staff people engaged in nothing but public art in their planning commission. The city has a very, this is a very established work. They've been doing this for a long time. They've moved into a couple of different departments, but the work itself is very well established. In fact, Arlette, correct me if I heard this wrong, because it just seems too good to be true, but the dollar amount of their budget is by ordinance, right?
For Minneapolis?
For Minneapolis. I was sure that that's what Mary said, that it was, that their minimum budget is by ordinance, so that their budget can't be messed with.
I don't remember that, but
Oh.
could be.
Well, it seems too good to be true, so if it's wrong, I apologize, I heard it wrong. Maybe I just want it to be true. So anyway, the staff is very involved with the public art. Their budget is $150,000, and most of their projects are around $1,000 to $4,000 range. Excuse me. Their funding source is bonds. So when they want to do a capital art project, they sell bonds. Bonds have to be sold, and they have to be permanent works. They have a collection manager every year. They have a committee that meets that discusses how much money will be spent on maintenance on each piece. This was very interesting. They have a program, Mark, you're going to like this. They have a program for wrapping utility boxes. It's done by permit. This is, they have a catalog of art that's available. Each piece is only supposed to be used 30 times, but Mary was certain that they had gone over that maximum usage. They wrap hundreds of boxes every year. The person who is interested comes to the city, they pay for the permit, the work is set up. That group or person is responsible for the maintenance of the wrapped box. They could also commission an original work, but it's all the money and all the maintenance is on the person who looks for the permit.
So who pays for the wrap?
The wrap is paid for by the person who wants it.
But they just make it available.
Yeah.
Sourced through, and
Yep.
it's already pre-approved.
It's the artist.
Unless the commission
Yeah.
piece comes into play.
Yeah, but they can choose from a catalog. They've got a number of art, and they recommission art every year, and they beef up their catalog. You want to wrap that light box on your corner, you can get your neighborhood association to come up with the money. You could do it yourself, or a service group could do it. You come to the city, you make your application, you pick your art and pay your money, and it's done. So I think that's a really, really interesting idea that we just might have to copy.
Best form of flattery, isn't it?
That's what they say. I think that's what we're going to go with. I'm shuffling notes, I'm sorry. The art selection committee includes engineers. Back to the utility boxes, it has to be art, cannot be an ad. No ads. The art selection committee always includes engineers. The art selection committee basically kicks the tires on the whole deal. They look at it, they make sure that it's viable, that everything is going to work, and then they pass it on for approval. Public art sites are selected by the city departments, and they have a 5-year plan for site selections. So they've got site selections planned out for 5 years. Then we met with
Gulgun.
thank you.
It's a Greek name.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And she was raised in London, so she's really fun to listen to. Gulgun is also an employee of the city of Minneapolis, and she created something called the Creative Index for the city. So using data that they bought from WeStaff, she was able to put together a very comprehensive document. I have a copy of it if anybody's interested, that shows where artists live and how much they make, how much they're paying in taxes, where they're doing their work. It shows what they contribute to the economy of the city of Minneapolis. And it's fascinating stuff. She's a fascinating person. She also is, what she wants to do is she wants an artist in every department of their city, because she believes that the artist can create or can bring a perspective to problem solving that is unique and extremely valuable. And an artist in residence is great, but she's like artist in residence in every single department. Let's see. I think that's it. Arlette, did I miss anything?
No, that was good.
It's long, sorry.
Good girl.
Any questions of either Deb or I?
I've got one question.
Yep.
The creative empowerment zone,
Yeah, creative,
whatever that was,
Enterprise.
yes.
I mean, is that like a boundary that's been created by the city, or what?
Not necessarily by the city. It's like the Business Improvement District operates in Fargo. So basically it's a nonprofit that exists and has members. And they have, I think, a rough boundary, but
They don't have taxing authority.
No,
Which would be different than a bid, but,
oh, I didn't know the bid had that. Okay,
well, the city has it, but
Yeah.
they raise
Yeah.
it through the bid.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's based on basically doing a cultural asset mapping, figure out where your assets are in the neighborhood, and you try to build that up, and, yeah, I mean, it's a great concept. So, any other questions? Okay. Just to do a quick update on the capital project, that, again, to remind you, is the money that had been allocated a couple years back, and CVB has been involved in it. We have now released a public survey. Did everybody get that? The link?
We will send it out, yep, in the next couple days.
Okay.
We'll send it, we'll do a push.
The survey is now live. It's on the top or the first page of the city website. So I'd encourage you all to go in and fill it out if you want to. We're hoping to get a good response to that, which then will take that data, and there's some demographic data included with it, and take it to the next step of planning, which we're not real certain exactly what that's going to be yet, but it's moving along. Deb, you have anything to
Well,
add?
I was just going to add what we're asking for in the survey is what we're asking the citizens what they want to see in public art. What materials, where would they see it happening, what have they enjoyed in the past, that kind of thing. So,
Hopefully it'll give us a little guidance.
yes.
Good.
So,
Yep.
do you want to add anything, Nicole or Megan? No? Okay. Update on the Performing Arts Center. I've been the representative basically from this group, and they met yesterday. The site that we're moving forward with is the Civic Center site. It would require demolition of that site. And then what basically came out of the meeting yesterday, the consultants who had originally put the economic impact and the marketing the market potential data from back in 2015 had updated it for current information. And at least my impression of the data was we had a pretty strong case back in 2015. We have even a stronger case now. Fargo, when he put up the comparative data with all of the other regional cities that have something similar, Fargo is strong in almost every one of the statistics, so we're ready. So I think the whole group kind of, there we go. There's the diagram that shows the site, and you can see All right, I'm not going to be able to explain this very well. The lower left-hand corner was also the second site on this plaza here that was considered, but we pretty much have set that aside. So it's at the Civic Center site. And you can see part of the rationale for doing that is the access to the building, both for pedestrians, but even more so for trucks and everything else that need to get access to it. And then also the potential for development across the street, looking at those two buildings that currently exist there, the potential for hotels or whatever. The parking situation was also reported on yesterday. There's more than plenty of parking spaces available in the downtown area within probably 3 blocks. And the intent was really to look at a site where a person would park once and be able to go to dinner or whatever prior to, and then over to the event. And that Civic Center site was a little better for that. So those were some of the things that were talked about. So they are moving forward with putting a little more detail to that site development to try to get a sense of the total cost of the project. We still don't have that. And then yesterday we had quite a bit of discussion on the funding side. And we really can't go forward with the funding side until we have at least a ballpark figure for the project. I think, the whole discussion has been around a mixture of different funding sources. So I sit through this and think, boy, this is going to happen, which is really wonderful after all this time. Yeah. Questions? All right. Update and Sodbuster.
I had to think for a second.
Yeah,
So the 3 circles were the potential sites, but the green arrows landing on the final site you chose?
No, I apologize. I explain this a little bit more. That green arrow is actually part of the plaza development. I think this must have come from Scott Bishop. Yeah, it did, BLD. So the green arrow coming through just shows how pedestrian traffic could go across the plaza to the river.
Gotcha.
The 3 sites were actually the Civic Center site, which is, thank you for whoever's pointing to it. And then the second site being, right there.
Okay.
And then the third site was the American Steel, whatever, Mid-America Steel site. And that one was dropped off almost immediately just because of truck access and car access and pedestrian access. So it was not good there. So, and the reason the south, let's see, what would it be, southeast corner of the plaza was difficult was that there's a lot of underground utility with the pump station right here. And it would have been a little tricky working around that. And it would have had to have been a 2-story building, which would have added cost to it. And there were a whole lot of other reasons as well, so. Plus people walking across the plaza without a skywalk during the winter.
Oh, sure. So the skywalk's hubbing right into the building then?
It would be,
Sure.
yes.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Yep. Absolutely. Then you have access to all those parking options. Cool.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I'm excited.
As part of the Performing Arts Center, will there be visual art programmable space within the Performing Arts Center?
By visual art, you're meaning objects?
Objects, programmable space, so the curated space.
Oh, curated space, more than likely, but we haven't gotten to those kinds of detailed discussions. There's been nothing about the interior of the building or the exterior or anything at this point. I'm assuming that discussion will come later, probably. There's a lot of discussion about music, obviously musical performances, and then Broadway performances coming in that probably don't have a place right now. It's really nice because the Fargo Dome representative, Rob Sobolik, sits at the table. He's very supportive. And then Kim Costin, the finance person, is sitting there. and of course administrative staff, so, as well as 2 city commissioners. So it's a good mix of people. Yeah.
Good.
All right. Sodbuster. Nicole.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide a brief update. So the Luis Jimenez Sodbuster sculpture that the Plains Art Museum has received a grant for restoration is getting ready to come back to Fargo. We're excited about that. The city of Fargo hired Scott Bishop with BLD. He was a part of the Downtown in Focus team, and as part of that work started, this diagram actually comes from that work, and started looking at the Civic Plaza and all the moving parts that relate to the Civic Plaza, whether it's potential development across the street, the lift station, pump station, the utilities, and really geographic or the grade elevation changes, and analyzing all of that, and with a lot of public outreach, including a survey that hopefully you've seen, helping to come up with some of the components related to the framing of where Sodbuster would go on the Civic Plaza site, as plus any additional programming and needs. And so the City of Fargo, on Monday night's agenda will be, City Commission agenda will be going to the next step of schematic development for the entire plaza. 2 weeks from there, we're looking at a proposal to start going into technical drawings, which would be, engineering and landscape architecture drawings on the placement of Sodbuster, working very closely with the Plains Art Museum. And chances are the Sodbuster location is going to end up somewhere to the vicinity of the north of the library. That's really the only area in this plaza that is constriction-free from any potential future moving parts, plus utilities and other things. So I'm not really giving the overall justice of this description, but what I will do, we're getting ready to post a report online that will provide some more information. We have about a 70-page report from BLD that just got published last week about the conceptual planning of the plaza, and then part of that was kind of starting to get a schematic on where the all the issues that are related to the Sodbuster and where it could go. And so I'm not being very clear, but are there any questions? Or the goal would be, we have a commitment to the Plains Art Museum to get Sodbuster placed before the end of the year. And so so hopefully we would be breaking ground with that construction by September, hopefully at the latest.
That'll be great. Great to have him home.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people know and remember Sodbuster. Looking forward to having it back out. Nicole, were you going to talk a little bit about the American for Arts Conference, or should we just, is it just a matter of?
Yeah, I think it's just a follow-up to the email Megan sent out. If there's any, kind of last call, if anybody's interested in attending. We are past the early bird registration, but if someone wants to go, just let us know, and we'd be glad to help you get connected. The dates are, again, there's a pre-conference that starts June 14th, and then the conference goes, officially starts Friday afternoon through Sunday of that weekend of mid-June.
The pre-conference, there's a public art pre-conference that's really interesting looking. I know I signed up for it. I think Arlette's going as well. In fact, I think Arlette's going to the whole thing.
Okay, thank you. So I know we're getting right up at 6 o'clock. If you don't mind, if we could just spend a few minutes talking about the work plan. And we sat down with staff again and refined this just a little bit more. And as I'm looking at this, I know there's a lot of information in here. And if you've not been directly involved in some of the discussion, it's hard to kind of pull it apart. But basically, it seems to me, and Deb, if you have some other suggestions, or Nicole and Megan, it seems to me that there's 5 different areas on this work plan that directly impacts the commission here in regards to our engagement and our ability to perhaps get engaged and involved in particular activities. The first one really is that whole first section about tourism. And we've started a little bit of a discussion on the capital project with CVB, but what this is talking about is taking that conversation to a higher level and talking about a tourism plan. And I know they already have one, but perhaps we can somehow engage in that arts and cultural plan of their tourism plan, and at least exchange information at that level. So that would be one area where we have a need for some volunteers who might want to get involved. The second one is our online presence, and Joe, you've done a little bit of presenting and interest in that. If there's something that you would be interested in being engaged in there. We've had some discussion about, having an online management for a more generic, public art in the city, not necessarily directly connected with Arts and Culture Commission. And then that might require an individual out there that would monitor and manage the Facebook page as well as a few other things. The third part is the developers and having some interaction with the developer community. We had some conversation about how to approach this, and instead of approaching it from we need to educate them kind of and increase awareness, maybe it is more sitting down with developers and understanding their perspective and understanding where they're coming from, and then taking it from there. So that one's a little bit more questionable yet, how we would approach that. And maybe, I don't know, Mark, if you would have some suggestions there. And then the fourth area is the one down under the purple, the evaluate part, developing an evaluation plan for what we're doing, collecting the statistics to show the impact, basically. And then the fifth one is funding, which is under the blue area, and that's a long-term, probably, effort. So maybe if we could just open this up a little bit, get a sense of what interest would you all have in any of these? What level of engagement would you be interested in? And Deb, do you have something to add?
No, I'm excited that all of us can start really getting our hooks into this, really start working.
I would be interested in the tourism involvement and being on a work group for that. And then the other piece I think I can at least have some initial input is working with the EDC on the evaluation piece. They're in full disclosure, I'm on that board, but they're getting ready to put together a statistical data strategy on how you, similar to the work you just saw in the cities, right? On what's the impact of art in a community, and how does it help with retention and attracting business?
Are you on that board?
I am.
I would love to have a longer conversation with you.
Yeah, and we're also involved in fueling the future as well.
Okay.
So there's a connection there, but yes, we can do that. Let's connect on that, Arlette. Thank you.
I would also be interested in working with the CVB and the tourism component. And then re-examining the master plan to generate new ideas.
Okay. Mark, maybe we can connect to just think through strategies with developers. You think?
Yeah, I'd be happy to work with our group as well as a few others that are active in the downtown area.
Okay.
There'd be some good feedback, I'm sure.
Okay. Joe, would you be interested in the online stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good answer.
Oh, no.
Tracy?
You throw me in wherever you think I'd fit that.
So, the longer term thing, and it's going to be the most difficult, is probably the funding. Would you be interested in?
Yeah.
And I don't know how we'll structure that one yet, but, and with all of these, we'll be pulling in other partners, community members, other artists, maybe from our advisory panel, those kinds of things. So, yeah.
And to that, if there are people that you know could be of value, please, let's bring them in.
Yeah.
We can work on this. I'll fill in as needed. All that.
Do the whole.
Yeah. Fill in as necessary.
I think the most urgent one, because it's got a Q2 timeframe to it, is the CVB, the tourism piece. And we already kind of have an inroad with Andy over there. So maybe we'll connect and get you pulled into that conversation a bit, and John, I'm sorry, and John.
Great.
And see if Andy Thorson?
Mm-hmm.
She is the, I don't know what her role is over at CVB. Anybody know? No. She's the one, anyway, that's kind of implementing the capital project for CVB, so.
And as a group, I believe we came up with some ideas. I remember being in a conference room here the last time we did an informal thing, and we came up with a lot of different ideas, like engaging with some of the local design magazines and, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we do have some notes somewhere first. Yeah, cool. Yep. Okay,
All right,
the fun stuff.
so we'll be in touch with kind of, so the next step, and move it forward.
I agree with Deb. It's fun to be on the implementation side of the plan.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We come through it and got some tasks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's May already, but at least at least it's here. And some of this is going to be multi-year, so.
Yes.
All right.
And I thought we'll just put this in with our packets. We can just kind of keep that as a notes.
You know what? That's my only copy.
Oh, okay.
So we'll make copies for everybody.
Yeah, I just.
How does that sound?
With the.
The other thing that we got from Mary is we did get the City of Minneapolis's policies, public art policies.
Yeah.
So we'll have to, yeah.
Yes, you mean?
No, the email that she sent with the attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that they got quite a bit more in depth after all their time. I think they've gone a lot deeper than what we have. So I think we might be able to learn something from them.
For that report, there must be a link to that could be emailed out.
You know what? There is, because I read it before we went. So we'll send out a link. Thanks.
Save a tree.
Any other?
Already making progress, yeah.
Any other business? And there obviously is no public comment, but any other business?
I have two
go
very
ahead.
short points here. Over at the Plains Art, the Creativity Among Native American Artists Initiative, the Native American programming over there. Currently, there's a artist in residence doing a month-long residency over there named Athena Latoka, and she's a New York City artist. She works on landscapes, and on Fridays, the next 3 Fridays, between 1 and 4 p.m., there's an open studio open to the public for people to come over and visit with her and kind of see what her process is. She's having a public talk tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Plains Art. But on Fridays, feel free to come over to the Creativity Center in the back there, and it's for the public to come over. So
Great.
It'd be a great opportunity to meet someone who's very, very interesting. The second piece is last month, the Circle of Nations School in Wapaton had inquired about a bison to have down at their campus down there, and tomorrow they're dedicating the bison They had a Native American artist, Laura Youngbird. She, for the last week and a half, has been working with the students down there to put this bison sort of back together and rework the piece. And so I don't have a time tomorrow, but they are going to be dedicating it, and it's open to the public. And if I can get that time early enough, I'll email it out to the group here, and it'll be available. So
That's awesome. If you don't know, the bison is the one that was sitting in front of Atomic Coffee.
yes.
And I'll correct everybody, it's bison.
Bison.
They when they got it down there, it'd been on Broadway for a number of years, and you could tell that a number of people have ridden that bison.
Yeah.
Footmarks were kicked into it. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's yep, yeah, a lot of wear and tear. They did a great job on putting it back together, and it looked great. But there'll be photos available too. So,
Cool.
But yes,
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And the owner of that one was actually very glad to find a place for it. So I can't remember her name. I can't remember. Anyway, the owner of Atomic Coffee. I'm sorry.
Janae?
There we go.
Yeah.
yes, very generous.
Yep, she donated it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great for the commission here to help get those connections together.
Yeah.
What happened to Sonny?
What happened to it?
Is Sonny still there?
Sonny
Outside
is-
Winter's?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's been
It's got bollard.
involved in a couple of accidents.
There's bollards in front of it now.
There's what?
There's big steel bollards in front of it, so to protect it.
Sunny. What's Sunny?
Future.
That's the name of the bison that's in front of Wimmers on the corner of Main and
Oh,
Broadway.
gotcha.
That's been
Gotcha.
involved in several traffic accidents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor baby.
It's a hard life for them.
Yeah. Life on the plains is rough, man.
All right. Any other business or announcements? All right. A motion to adjourn would be good.
I would make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
I understand that's not actually really necessary to do, but I feel like it's just kind of closes things up. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.